Welcome to Kava and Kettlebells, where we talk about kava, fitness, and life. Let's get kavafied.
Hey, what's up, everyone? Welcome back to Kava and Kettlebells. This is Charles.
Hey guys, this is Heidi. Thank you so much for tuning back in. If you haven't already, please take 5 seconds and go ahead and like this episode and subscribe to our channel. Like we've said many times, we do not monetize off this. We do not have any sponsors or big company backing this. We completely fund this ourselves, and we really want to help get this message across, and that will really rely on you liking, subscribing, engaging, and sharing with your friends and family. So help us out, and thank you in advance. Also, go ahead and follow us on both Instagram and TikTok at Kava_Kettlebells. You can talk with us there. You can engage with our community and just really see what else we have to post up on there. All right, let's go ahead and get into the episode. On today's episode, we want to talk about sleep, Kava and sleep. Sleep is so important. I think it is probably one of the most underrated things, especially as a personal trainer. So many of my clients don't get good sleep, and that changes everything. So we'll get into sleep, but first we will talk about our workout of the day. So I'll let you start off.
Yeah, well, so today was my off day, aka cardio day.
Yeah.
So this morning, though, what I did was, so we have a home gym here at the house, and we have like really enough like equipment and weight to not have to go to the gym, but we go to a gym as well, just to get outside the house, get some, machine work in there too. But today, what I like to do every now and then, I like to just, keep up my cardio, obviously. And really, I stick to LISS, so low intensity, steady state, like walking or HIIT, so high intensity interval training. And with HIIT training, I like sprints. I've always liked to sprint. That's what I enjoy doing. And I think a lot of cardio is like do what you enjoy. So you actually do it. So I like walking and I like sprinting. So when I do my cardio, and it's nice at home because I just have to go out to the road, usually what I'll do is I'll start with like about a mile, maybe a mile and a half, like fast walk. And that's usually walking my dog Vince. And so I'll get, a walk in with him, drop him off back at the house, and then I'll do sprint circuits. So how that looks like, that's usually about max effort for about 1 minute, then about a 30-second break, max effort for a minute, 30-second break. I'll try to do about 10 rounds of those. Usually for me, that's enough. I'm pretty wiped after that because you're going max effort for a minute sprint. It's a lot. And towards the end, it kind of turns into a max effort run for a minute because I'm not, sprinting as fast as I was in the first couple of rounds. So by round 9, 10, it's more a fast jog instead of a sprint, but I'm still trying to get my max effort. So all that ends up taking them about, all together, the walk and the sprint circuits, about 45 minutes. And from there, usually like to end with a little bit of abs. For abs, I like to do more kind of hanging stuff. So I do like hanging leg raises. And usually that's about it for abs. I only do abs that once a week.
So for my workout, it was supposed to be a leg day, and I normally do, I do my deadlifts on leg day. I normally do traditional deadlifts, but I decided to do some sumo deadlifts, sumo barbell deadlifts, and I honestly haven't done that in years, like since Tucson. And as I've said in episodes in the past, I've been dealing with a hip labrum tear for, over a year now. And it's okay, like I just can't really break 90 and I can do the hinging motion. But whatever, I just went too deep in the sumo squats, I don't know, but definitely agitated it. So I did some sumo squats and then I decided to stop there. And then I just did kind of more rehab work. So really just light movements, clamshells, reverse clamshells, with a band, leg kickbacks and abductions with a cable machine, some using the yoga ball and doing glute bridges and like a hamstring curl with the yoga ball, and just some different stretches that I've been taught at the not personal training, just some stretches that I've been taught at physical therapy, and I ended with a stair stepper. So I did more of a rehab hip workout, and yeah, that was my workout today.
Boring.
I mean, gotta do what you gotta do. You know, I know it's boring. It's boring having an injury. So
it is honestly, like I struggle with this. I struggle doing like recovery work and like prehab work because it's just boring. Like it really is. Like, I mean, just being honest, like when I go to the gym, I want to like, hit the weights.
And it takes a while too, because there's like a lot of movements that I've been taught at physical therapy. And I try and do like banded clamshells and reverse clamshells. I can do that quickly for like a warm up and a cool down, but doing everything else takes a while, and like doing it all properly and like taking your time takes a long time.
No, hands down. Well, yeah, so this kind of goes into recovery a bit, but
yeah.
So we're talking today about sleep, and we're kind of talk about how Kava is really beneficial for sleep. So if you've been having sleep issues, how you might want to look into using Kava to supplement your sleep, right? I say supplement because it shouldn't be the focal thing that you use to fix your sleep, right? There's underlying issues that you probably need to address first that are free, right? So instead of having to buy Kava, there's there's things you could do just with your lifestyle like that, don't cost any money, that you should probably look at first to see if you get the root cause.
Yeah. So what I alluded to earlier is, sleep is so, so important. To put it bluntly, if you have a shitty sleep, you're going to have a shitty day. And people try to like ignore it and act like it's not true, but it is. And so there's a lot of things you can do to help with that, especially, we did an episode about creatine, and creatine is a great supplement to help you recover on those days that you have a bad sleep, but you have to get right back into a good sleep pattern. It's not like you can't supplement your way out of shitty sleep. It doesn't work.
And I will say, like, I haven't seen it as much anymore, but I remember like even probably 5-10 years ago, maybe, like, especially the whole like hustle culture, and you see a lot from entrepreneurs and stuff, but the whole like I'll sleep on dead thing, and like, just grinding and all that, like I don't need sleep. I don't think that's a good message to send.
I
really
agree.
Isn't. Like,
it's not.
I hate that, because I was always like no, like I mean, some of you out there might be like, no, like screw that, like there's work till and
there's a certain extent, like I get it, there's certain things, like especially as an entrepreneur, you're starting a business, you do have to do that, you do have to hustle, pull those all-nighters, but you also have to remember you can't do that on a regular basis, because your production is not going to be good quality. And that's what I feel like people don't understand. So sure, you pumped out an extra 6 hours of work, but was that good work? Or maybe if you would have gotten sleep and just woken up earlier, you probably would have done better quality work in a quicker time.
Yeah, and I don't know. And it's also probably a personal thing. Like, yes, I like building wealth monetary wise, and that's a whole different subject, but I'm a firm believer in health is wealth. And lack of sleep is, like, I'm not even gonna go into the studies, because there's so many out there. We know now that data on sleep is crucial to longevity, to healthy aging, to cognitive function, biomarkers, right? Even things like heart health, brain health. Everything is tied to sleep.
And there's been studies that have been done with muscle building. So they take the same people and they they control their nutrition. So they have them in the same calories, and they give them, the same workouts. And then they have one group that gets 8 hours of sleep. And then they have one group that gets 5 or 6 hours of sleep. I forget the exact numbers. And they both lost the same amount of weight, but the group that got less sleep, most of that weight, I want to say like 40% more of that weight was muscle that they lost. And the reason that happens is because your body goes into fight or flight mode. It's a stress when you're stressed and that cortisol is high, your body goes into fight or flight mode. And so it's trying to protect you, and it doesn't allow you, most of us want to work on that body composition, which means, increasing that muscle, lowering that fat, but it doesn't allow you to do that because it's trying to protect you. And the way it's going to do that is, well, what is too hard this muscle is way too hard to take care of right now. We're just going to get rid of it. And that's what people don't understand. And so it's so crucial to get sleep for every aspect of life, but especially for your fitness.
Now you can say too, like your mood and your cognition, we know, is so tied to sleep. That's pretty obvious. But also another thing and we see this with both males and females, is energy levels, your hormones.
Yes.
Just by fixing your sleep. And I know I talked to a lot of guys before that, are getting like their testosterone levels checked and all their biomarkers just by fixing their sleep, from going to 4 or 5 hours of sleep a night to a full 8 hours, recovered a lot of their hormones, right? They brought their testosterone back up, they brought their estrogen back down to a healthy ratio. And, that's what I'm saying. So like if you're trying to fix something, and let's just say you're training and you're not getting stronger, or you're not losing fat, or you just don't feel like you're optimizing, start looking at the basics. Look at your diet. What are you eating? Look at your training routine. Look at your sleep. I guarantee you, if you're not prioritizing your sleep, and if you're lacking on your sleep, it's going to be holding you back in at least 1 or 2 aspects of your wellness journey.
And I've had multiple clients, and typically a lot of it has been women. And this is again why I say, new moms are warriors, and they have a super disrupted sleep schedule for a good year. And that prevents a lot of women from being able to work on that body composition, which is why I always say, like, this is not your priority right now. Like, your priority is your child, and you can still work on your body, but, don't let that consume you, and don't get frustrated because your child is your priority, and you got to wake up at 2 a.m. Then you got to wake up again at 4 a.m. and that's going to fuck shit up. And that's okay. Like, that's okay. Give yourself grace, be patient. We'll get to it when we can. But that being said, I have clients in both aspects who can't lose fat and are doing all the things, eating all the right foods. And then on the same flip side, people who are eating all the right things, doing all the right workouts, and they can't gain muscle. And for both types of clients, simply fixing their sleep has allowed them to break that plateau, and it has allowed their body to relax and lose that fat, and has allowed them to gain that muscle. And what people don't understand, or I think people forget, is sleep is when our body heals. It's when we recover. It's why when we're sick, when our kids are sick, they fight us on naps. But it's so important for them, because that is when our body does its magic and is able to heal and recover. So if we did that episode on recovery, if you never give your muscles a chance to recover and you never give it adequate sleep, it's impossible for it to actually grow.
Yeah, and I'd say especially too for natural athletes, or just people out there in general who aren't using performance enhancers. A lot of times people just look at like, like what supplements, or they'll be like steroids, right? That's like the best thing I could take. Well, growth hormone is crucial to muscle building, to fat loss, to growth, recovery, all of that. And especially if you're natural, you really got to emphasize sleep, because that's one of the best times in the day that you're going to get those big growth hormone spikes and release. And if you're only sleeping 4 or 5 hours, your body is not going to get that growth hormone surge to, help you properly recover, to grow, to lose fat, to feel good. And again, growth hormone, that helps with like longevity, that helps with the anti-aging. It's what makes your hair grow, your skin look good, right? Your nails grow, all that kind of stuff. So, you got to take advantage of these periods where it really, again, sleep is free. Right?
Yeah.
It's not like, for the enhanced people out there, taking growth hormone, or if you're taking peptides to increase growth hormone, yes, you can get away with a little bit more sleep. And I'll be honest in that, like, yes, if you're taking growth hormone or peptides that help release growth hormone, it brings your levels super physiological, right? So it brings your IGF higher, and it allows you. I'm not saying that it's an excuse not to sleep, because again, sleep has so many other factors in there.
But it sometimes may prevent you from being able to sleep too much. Is that kind of what you mean?
No, so I just want people to know that if you're natural, not taking anything, you got to take advantage of opportunities to enhance your hormones, enhance your recovery, because if you're not using things like growth hormone and peptides, it doesn't allow you that slack.
Gotcha. Yeah, that's true. And I feel like people they're so eager for like a pill. Like, well, I just want a pill so I don't have to sleep as much. Well, don't you feel like if that was possible, like we would have invented that already? Like, you have to sleep. Everyone has to sleep. And if there was a way around it, our bodies would have been able to adapt by now. Like, our bodies adapt to everything. We've adapted to not need, what did you have removed?
Oh, my appendix.
Your appendix, like our bodies adapt. We don't need something, they adapt. Have we adapted to not need sleep? No. Like, if we didn't need sleep, our bodies would have adapted over the past how many thousands of years to need less and less sleep. And it's the one thing that no matter what supplements you're taking, you cannot replace sleep. Like,
no, you can't.
You need sleep. So, so that's our spiel on sleep. Sleep is so important. And, Charles, being in the military, he's been on many, many different sleep aids, and I think sleep aids, I don't know, you can give your opinion on sleep aids, but
I've struggled with insomnia for a while. And if you've listened to us, going back to our audio, I did a whole solo episode on my sleep issues and things that have helped me. But yeah, like when I'd be deployed, I would get the Rambit of all the sleep pills, so get the Ambiens, all those kind of things. And then, there was a period too where, I was on trazodone for a while, and trazodone is an old school kind of antidepressant, but it knocks you out. And it's, I'm not going to lie, it's amazing for sleep. It actually does. Some studies actually show that it improves sleep architecture. So I didn't feel too bad about taking it. But again, I don't like being dependent.
And that has other side effects.
Does have other side effects. So I've had a lot of sleep issues. Things that have helped me is sleep hygiene. And so what that means, that's okay. It's an hour before bed. That means turning all the lights down. And we're really, really adamant about that we try to make the house as dark as possible before going to bed. So it starts, kind of bringing us down.
To the point that in Alabama, because it would get dark very early, we would even just set up candles. So we just would not have any lights on. We would just have candles up. And that helped tremendously, just really tell our body, because the blue light, your computer, even if you're not looking at the computer and your phone, you open the refrigerator or you just have these bright lights on in the kitchen, and it wakes you up and it makes your body think like, okay, it's time to go, go, go. But really making it dark forces your body in that circadian rhythm to start. And it tells your body, okay, it's time to wind down. We're getting tired. We're getting sleepy. And I remember we used to sit there on the couch all dark with candles, and like it'd be a struggle to keep our eyes open. Like, it works.
It really helped. And that was a period too where I was going through another bad insomnia bout, and it helped. With sleep hygiene too, it's things like making sure you're going to bed each night at the same time, and then getting up at the same time.
Even on the weekends.
Yeah, which I know is tough. Trust me, I know it's hard, because you want to have a social life too. You want to go out, and I get that. And I do think, like, you don't beat yourself up. Like, it was like a couple months ago, Heidi and I went out to a concert.
Oh my gosh, yeah.
And it was way, way past.
Like, guys, we normally are in bed by 8:30, and I think we didn't get home till like 11.
Yeah, so we went to go see Pepper. And Pepper didn't go on stage till, I'm not freaking kidding you, like 9:30.
10. No, it was supposed to be over. Yeah, because I remember, again, we're very like punctual people. I know it's a concert. Obviously, they're not going to be punctual. But the concert ticket said it was from like 6 to 10.
Yeah, so that was done at 10.
And Pepper didn't go on until 10. And like, man, I love pepper, but we just could not stay for.
You stay till like 11, they had to bounce. But you know, like, it's not an everyday thing.
Right.
For us, we hadn't been to a concert in a while, and I was like, we're gonna go. I'm gonna. What I gain from this experience will outweigh what I lost in sleep for that period of time, right? But if I was doing that weekly or every other day, that's where it becomes an issue. So again, don't beat yourself up. You know, yeah, if you got like family in town and you want to go out with them and you're gonna be out till, you know, past midnight, like, got it. You might, who knows, next time you're gonna see your family, right? I mean, it's like a once a year thing. So, you know, there's an emotional health aspect
absolutely,
to it as well.
Yeah.
So sleep hygiene, I would say, is crucial, right? Those are things that help me. Lights out, bed at the same time, waking up at the same time, and then having a cool, dark room.
Yeah. And it helps. Key. Yeah, it's important. And it's hard for me because Charles loves being cold. I hate being cold. Like, I walk around the house, I always have my cozy pants on, and I always have like jackets on, and I have this fuzzy soft blanket that I just wrap my whole body in when I go to bed. But I have to have like a cold sheet over me. Like, I can't have the fuzzy blanket over me. I have to have like a barrier. I know it sounds weird, but I have to have the barrier of the sheet, and that helps me not get too overheated. Because it's hard. It's hard for your body, even though it seems comfortable, it's hard to get into actual sleep. And there's different phases of sleep that your body has to go through. And that's what's challenging about sleep medicine, even melatonin, is it affects each stage of sleep. So I don't have all the exact science on it, but you can look it up. You know, melatonin might help you get into that first stage of sleep, but it's going to affect, that's why a lot of people comment when they take melatonin that they can't stay asleep, because it's good at getting you in that first stage of sleep, but then it's not good at keeping you in REM sleep. And then I don't know exactly for some of the other sleeping pills, what's the one that you were prescribed? Not trazodone, Ambien.
Ambien. So Ambien messes up your REM sleep.
Yeah, so like sleeping pills might help you get to sleep, but they don't necessarily help you get good amounts of each stage of sleep, which is just it's not gonna give you, you're not gonna feel rested when you wake up.
Yeah, the sleep architecture is important, right? So your deep sleep, your REM sleep, all that stuff. But I will say, you know, there are some effective supplements out there. Like, one thing that I think is, for me, a staple is magnesium glycinate. I do that before bed. I do about 400 milligrams before bed. That's been great. Glycine is another one that's perfect, you know, anywhere from 500 milligrams up to 2 grams of glycine. Melatonin, I think in low doses for periods of time is okay.
It is not good, though, to be on melatonin every day for the rest of your life. Like, you really need to cycle on and off of it.
Yeah. The antihistamines out there, like things like Benadryl and some of like the Z-Quils, Unisom tablets, those I'm not a big fan of, because there is research showing that there's a potential leak to Alzheimer's with those. And I think it's because of it essentially messes a bit with the choline production in the brain. So those are like, I see as like a last resort thing, definitely not an every night thing.
And if you have kids, like, as parents, we know people, and it's becoming really popular too, melatonin for kids. And I remember we were like, oh, interesting, the melatonin chocolates, melatonin gummies, and it is not good to have your kids on melatonin, and it is not good to put your kids, to use any histamine to put your kids to sleep. And we've done it when we've been traveling, like, we've given them the melatonin chocolate, and same thing, they would fall asleep, but they would not get a good sleep. They'd wake up in the middle of the night, and we realized real quick, like, this is not a good option for them.
Yeah, nightmares, things like that.
Yeah, and so if you need to do it, like, here or there, you know, you're traveling or whatever, but I really encourage you, do not get in the habit of giving your children these all the time, because you're really going to mess with their sleep schedule for the rest of their life.
Yeah. So that's why I say choose kind of more the natural proven supplements. So again, like, magnesium is great for relaxation, and most people are magnesium deficient. Glycine's great. Chamomile, which you could do chamomile tea, or you could do chamomile extract, and lemon balm are also great. Valerian root, I think, is hit or miss for people. It can
Yeah,
help.
I can't. It gives me nightmares.
Yeah, some people it gives them
very
nightmares.
vivid nightmares.
Yeah.
But GABA works really great for me.
Yeah, GABA is great. So GABA, again, that's a neurotransmitter in the brain, but you can get the GABA supplement. When you take GABA, just a forewarning, GABA, as a supplement, especially if you go over like a gram before bed, sometimes it can give you like a shortness of breath. Don't freak out. That's natural. It goes away. I know that sounds like so bad, but like you're not going to die. But GABA can give you a bit of a shortness of breath at first. But GABA is another one that's great for sleep. So now let's move into Kava for sleep. So overall, Kava is going to be, and this is regardless of the cultivar, most will end in a relaxing note. Now, some are better for sleep than others. Some cultivars, and we talk about them in terms of heavy and balanced.
So I always like to say heavy is like my eyes are getting heavy. So heavy is more suited for nighttime, whereas heady is more suited for daytime.
Yeah, then the balance is kind of like a little bit of an in between. But overall, like, again, Kava works on the GABA receptors in the brain. So the GABA receptors are going to kind of give you that feeling of like coming down, relaxation. Also, like we said, with the GABA supplementation, it can help you with sleep. For Kava, specifically with sleep, I highly recommend starting with more heavy cultivars. And a reputable Kava vendor, when they give you the description of their cultivars, they'll say, hey, this one is, a little bit more heavy. This one's a little bit more heady, or like this is like a balanced Kava. But that's not to say you might have a different reaction to some Kavas, because I've had Kavas before that are supposed to be very, very heavy, and they kept me up all night long.
Or like a more balanced Kava that leans more heavy, or like it's supposed to lean more heavy for some people, has left you with insomnia and like been hard for him to go to sleep. So again, like we've said many times, every botanical is going to affect every person differently. Don't trust the label. Don't trust what happened to your friend. Don't trust what happened to Heidi and Charles. You got to try it out for yourself and see how your body is going to respond to it.
Yeah. And so most cultivars from Vanuatu, again, Kava comes from different islands in the Pacific. You got cultivars from Hawaii, from Fiji, from Vanuatu, from Samoa. But typically speaking, cultivars from Vanuatu tend to lean heavy and be a little bit better for sleep. So when I'm looking for Kava specifically for sleep, I tend to choose Kavas that are from Vanuatu, or I'll look for maybe like a Fijian Kava, because most Fiji Kavas tend to be balanced. And with a good balanced Kava, if I drink it more in the afternoon, typically come bedtime, very relaxed and like ready for sleep.
Yeah, and so balanced, I think especially, is just important for you to just kind of figure out what's going to work best for you. Now, I typically don't drink Kava during the day. I only drink Kava really in the late afternoon, evening. So I only, primarily drink heavy. I think Solomon is one of my favorite, but it is more of a daytime. So that's like a treat for me to be able to like have a Solomon like during the day.
Now, so when to drink it before bed, right? So I'll kind of give you our routine. So usually when we drink Kava, we'll usually start drinking around 5 p.m. and probably have our last shell around 6-ish.
Now, keep in mind, we get ready for bed around 8:30. Like we are in bed around 8:30. So depending on you, if you're in bed about 10, then maybe you can drink a little bit later. Maybe you don't start drinking till 8. Yeah. And you're in bed around 10 or 11.
But for us, we feel that's a good way because we'll drink it, again, early evening or start around 5. Then we'll usually have dinner, at 6 or 6:30. A meal usually makes the Kava, even hit a little bit harder sometimes.
If it's a fat, fat does. So if you have a fattier meal, you have some oils, then that can help, make it hit harder.
Yeah. And then by the time we get ready for bed, again, around 8:30, usually that's when the kava has fully set in, kind of the after effects are in there. And again, a more heavy kava towards the end of the ride is going to leave you pretty sleepy. And honestly, like I said, ready to go to bed.
And some, heavy kavas just really help you get a good sleep, but you're able to function. It's not like too sedating. And then there are some that are much more sedating, and they'll have you just like couch locked, as we say, where you just want to sit on the couch, lay back, not do anything except go to sleep.
Yeah. So overall, like you kind of gotta like play around with it. I would say a good starting place. Look for the heavy kavas, and again, some kava vendors, might not have info on the type of cultivar, but a good quality kava vendor, they're going to have what's called a chemotype, and that's a 6-digit code that lists the order of kava lactones that are in the kava. Because again, there's kava lactones in kava, and there's 6 main ones. So it's going to list the 6 main kava lactones, and the first one it starts with is going to be the one that's the most prominent in that cultivar. And a heavy cultivar will have a certain chemotype, and the more heady cultivars will again lean a certain way with the way the chemotype, the 6-digit code is. So you can look at that, see what the vendor says, look at reviews on the kava. I do that a lot too. I'll see what people are saying about it. But in general, if you're looking for something to really help you with sleep, look for something from Vanuatu or maybe a Fijian kava, because some of their other kavas tend to be a little bit more suited for daytime. They're still going to relax you. They're still going to put you in a good mood, and overall, kind of reduce that stress feeling. But they might be more suited for daytime because they're not going to have a sedative effect. And even sometimes people get a little bit of like a euphoric rush from the kava that could definitely not put you in a good spot if you're using it right before bed.
Yeah, and I think it's important too, if you are using kava for sleep, to use a traditional grind. And, there are some, especially, extracts that are specifically meant for sleep. But in general, I would not lean towards extracts or seltzer beverages or anything like that if you're trying to use it before bed for sleep. You're not going to get the same effects. And I would really, stick with traditional grind if you are using it, for sleep.
Yeah. So hopefully that helped you all out. Wrapping this up, you gotta sleep. Like, you gotta prioritize your sleep.
Yes. Yeah. Like, you need to prioritize it. And I mean, I just don't even know how else to stress it. Like, it will affect every aspect of your life. And if you just feel like you're plateauing, or you feel like you're getting brain fog, or, whatever issues in life just seem to be a problem, like, evaluate your sleep and see if that's the culprit.
With that being said, stop watching YouTube, turn out the lights in your bedroom, go to sleep.
Turn us off. Turn us off.
Go to bed, dream about us. But as always, let's end with a bula.
All right, guys.
Bula.
Bula.